I've actually played golf with Ben and Jerry.
You are kidding.
Yeah.
The real guys?
Yeah.
Meet Palle Bo, a full-time traveler and digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world.
I said goodbye to my couchsurfing friend, Blueberry Ben, and headed west. It was a drive of 243 miles, around 390 kilometers, that took me back through New Hampshire. And just across the state line, I made it to the last of the 6 states in New England. I had 2 stops in Vermont, and my first was a wonderful Airbnb down a gravel road, and the view from there was astonishing. My name is Palle Bo. This is episode 192, this week from Vermont.
This is the Radio Vagabond.
I ended up my last episode by saying goodbye to Ben and that I was going to Vermont to look for another Ben, as in Ben from Ben and Jerry. Spoiler, I didn't find him. But what I didn't know when I said those words a week ago is that I met someone who has met the real Ben and Jerry. He's from Vermont, and funny enough, his name is also Ben. How weird is that? I met this Vermont Ben where I am right now as I'm editing this episode, and he's got a lot to say about his home state, and you get to meet him in a few seconds. But first, let me remind you that the Radio Vagabond is supported in part by Hotels25.com. It's a website that helps you find the best deals on hotels, hostels, and guest houses all over the world. You will not be able to find a better deal anywhere, I promise you, because it searches all the major hotel sites in one simple search. Hotels.com, Booking.com, Agoda, Expedia, Kayak, and many, many more, and gives you a list to choose from. Hotels25.com, it's best price guaranteed.
You are listening to the Radio Vagabond, your guide to taking that first step towards living a more fulfilling and adventurous life. If Palle Bo can do it, why can't you?
As I've been working on this episode that you're listening to right now, I'm in Panama, in Bocas del Toro. And last night there was a pool tournament, and in the final I met you, Ben.
Yeah, and unfortunately I lost. I was kind of shocked, but yeah, he beat me last night, so all the credit to him.
I got the trophy and a bottle of wine and my name on the board, which I'm super proud of.
I was so jealous watching you drink that bottle of wine there.
It was good. It was good. And it's so funny because the reason you're on this episode is like when we were playing, I said, where are you from? And you said?
Vermont.
Vermont, of all places, and I'm just working on it. And you said that you're a proud Vermonter.
A proud Vermonter, yeah.
I thought I'd quiz you a little bit on that. I got some facts about Vermont and see if you can get it right. So, do you know where the name Vermont come from?
Vermont it's a French word, I believe. It's Vermont, which means green mountains.
Yeah, exactly. Bing!
Yeah,
You got that one right.
I always, when I've been traveling along, when I've met French people, they're like, where are you from? I'm like, Vermont. You know, I say it in a French accent, and they laugh. But yeah, I knew that was. There's a lot of French influence in Vermont, so.
Yeah. And it's also pretty close to Montreal.
Yep. I'm about 2.5 hours away from Montreal, right near the Canadian border. So.
And it's also the nickname is the Green Mountain State.
Yeah. So I ski and bike a ton, and I live about 15 minutes outside of Burlington. But then my grandparents have a house on the water, so we have a boat as well, and yeah, living the outdoorsy life in Vermont, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And speaking of Burlington, it's the biggest city. It's among all the states in the U.S., Burlington is the biggest city that is the smallest city, if that makes sense.
That is exactly correct. Yeah, Burlington's not the capital, but it is the biggest city, and it's tiny. I mean, it's tiny, but it's awesome.
And you have, is it the smallest state capital in the U.S.?
I believe so, yeah.
With 7,787 people in...
Holy crap. Oh, my God.
It is tiny.
It's tiny. Yeah, but so the capital is Montpelier, or Montpellier, as the French would say. And I never go to Montpelier. There's really nothing to do there. Burlington is really the city that people go to have fun and do stuff. So Burlington's the main city in Vermont, yeah.
And the state itself is also quite small. It's not the least populous state in the U.S.?
Correct. It's not the least populated, but it is really small. And there's a lot of places that you just don't go because there's like nobody living there. Yeah. So
the only one with less people is Wyoming.
Correct. Wyoming, yeah.
You have a lot of cows.
Yes, we do have a lot of cows. There's some of my friends joke that there's more cows than people in Vermont, which actually might be true.
I got facts on that as well.
Is it true?
No, it's not true. The joke is that there are more dairy cows than people, but it's not true. There is one cow for 3.8 people.
Okay. Well, that's still a pretty high percentage.
It is the highest ratio for cows in the U.S. per capita.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. See, I did my research here. But there's two things that you don't have in Vermont that is all over the U.S. Can you guess what that is?
Two things that we don't have?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have billboards.
Right.
And we don't have, oh boy, I don't know. I know billboards.
Billboards is right. And the other thing is you don't have McDonald's.
Yeah, we do.
You do? Uh-huh. Okay, wrong fact. Damn you, internet. Damn you.
I was thinking about McDonald's. I was like, no, we have McDonald's all around.
Oh, I'm wrong. It's the your capital is the only state capital without a McDonald's. I got that wrong. That was on me. Sorry, internet.
I told you that's why nobody goes to Montpelier.
Because there's no McDonald's.
Because there's no McDonald's, exactly.
Okay. You aced this quiz, so good on you. So what else can you say about Vermont? Why should people go there?
So I've been living in Vermont. I'm now 19 years old. I've been living there all my life, and Vermont is beautiful. The people there are amazing, and there's a million things to do. It's an extremely outdoorsy place. It's extremely clean and environmentally safe. So yeah, I ski, I mountain bike, I surf, even though there's no surf in Vermont, but I'm a surfer as well. And then we live on the lake, so everything with the lake oriented. But yeah, all my friends and family are very healthy, fit, active people. And I think the Vermont lifestyle is extremely attractive. And the amount of people moving there keeps increasing every year. So Vermont is just a great place to live. It's a great place to grow up and a great place to raise a family.
The Radio Vagabond. Gotta keep moving.
I've gone hiking. I'm still staying at the Airbnb in Vermont until tomorrow. But it's very, very close to the border between Vermont and New Hampshire. Actually, it's so close, so whenever I need to go to a supermarket, I'm doing that in another state. So it's that close to New Hampshire. You don't really see, other than a sign that you're entering a new state, but it's... you do that when you come from the south. There were a lot of signs saying liquor store, next exit, because the taxation is different in New Hampshire. But it's not something I see here or feel here. Yeah, it's just a regular supermarket. I haven't really noticed if the prices were any different than they are here in Vermont. But I'm back in New Hampshire right now, and not to do any shopping, but to go for a hike. They have a beautiful national park where you have a mountain called Mount Washington. And here you have a lot of trails for going hiking. At the moment I'm walking all alone, I think, in this forest and crossing a small creek here, trying to balance on some wood they put over it, and then heading up. I can see it now. Now it's up. So now I'm going to be out of breath. I'm staying in the Airbnb until tomorrow. I've spent a week there, and it is in the middle of nowhere, but so beautiful. And tomorrow I'm staying in Vermont, but I'm going to a bigger city called Burlington. Should also be something that they highlight as one of the nicest places in New England. And that will be the final stop on my New England tour. I told you that I was out of breath. I'm trying to get some exercise. I actually went running this morning, so yeah, I need to get my blood pumping some more. That's doctor's orders.
I had 2 stops in Vermont. The first one was just across the border from New Hampshire. So obviously I also went to Mount Washington.
Yeah, Mount Washington's amazing. The mountains in Vermont are really beautiful. Us East Coast skiers all kind of pride ourselves on skiing with no snow and just ice. But it is the mountains are beautiful, and we hike in them in the summers. And yeah, only good things to say about the Green Mountains here in Vermont.
Here at Mount Washington, there's a railway going to the top. It's quite a hike up there, so I didn't go, and instead I went down another way. And here I find this railway. There are 3 trains pushing a cart. 4 trains actually. 3 with a diesel engine and 1 that is a steam train. And the first one is about to leave. The 3 diesel engines are first, and then comes the steam engine, really old-fashioned steam engine at the end.
Mount Washington is the highest peak in the northeastern United States, and more than 6,000 feet, almost 2,000 meters, and it's the most prominent mountain east of the Mississippi River. The train to the top is called Mount Washington Cog Railway, and it takes you on a dramatic ascent to the summit. The Cog is the first mountain climbing cog railway in the world, and the only one currently in operation in North America. With an average grade of 25%, some sections are nearly 38%. It's also the second steepest in the world. It's primarily powered by a fleet of 7 powerful biodiesel locomotives. And then the railway also continues to operate a pair of century-old coal-fired steam engines. It's located at the heart of the majestic White Mountains region, and even the drive up there along Base Station Road is beautiful. Every twist and turn on the road is a new Instagram moment. One of the places you must remember to stop for some pictures is the Upper Falls. It's an impressive rocky cascade and a popular swimming hole just a few meters from the road. Also keep your eyes open for wildlife. It's not uncommon to see moose and bear along the base road.
You can see pictures, videos, and links and read much more on the RadioVagabond.com.
I would love to hear from you, and now there's a new and very simple way for you to send me a voice message. It's a cool little web-based app called Telby, and all you need to do is click on the banner on the RadioVagabond.com where it says "Talk to me," and then just talk. Tell me where you are and what you're doing while you're listening to this. It's super simple, and one of the cool things is that you can listen to it and redo it if you're not happy with it before you click send. Please try that. I get a small soundbite that I can play here on the show, and it's always wonderful to hear from you guys. You can, of course, also fill out the form under contact on the website. And then I headed to my second stop in Vermont, Burlington. Like I spoke to Ben about before, it's the most populous city in Vermont, but it's not big. The population is around 42,000, and it ranks as the least populous city to also be the most populous city in its state. It sounds confusing, so let me just explain what I mean. In other words, if you have a list of the biggest cities in each state in the US, Burlington would be on the list, and at the same time it would be on the bottom as the one with the smallest population. Well, I don't even know if that made more sense. Anyway, it's 72 kilometers from the Canadian border and only 151 from Montreal. Half an hour drive from Burlington is Waterbury, where the world-famous and popular ice cream Ben & Jerry's first factory was built in 1985. It continues to manufacture approximately 350,000 pints of ice cream every day.
Up to our theater, so if you would like, we do have a vanilla-vator around the corner. Get it, vanilla-vator?
I have taken a small detour on my way to Burlington to visit the Ben & Jerry factory. This is where it all began, and here I just bought tickets to go on a factory tour. And of course there's a gift shop where you could buy a lot of t-shirts and books and other merchandise with Ben & Jerry, and it's all a lot of fun and very, very humorous, the whole concept of Ben & Jerry.
And Ben & Jerry?
Ben & Jerry's huge. So Ben & Jerry, I've actually played golf with Ben & Jerry.
You are kidding.
Yeah.
The real guys?
Yeah. My father and I met Ben and Jerry. No, I forget who it was. It was either Ben or Jerry out in the golf course. And yeah, they're really cool dudes. I've talked to them. I've actually seen them like at like a live talk kind of deal. And they're cool. They're like politically active, but their ice cream is amazing. I know every time I'm like traveling or whatever, when I say I'm from Vermont, people immediately think Ben & Jerry's and then Bernie Sanders. Those are like the two Vermont go-tos.
Yeah.
But they're really cool guys.
Yeah. Are they just as we imagine, these fun hippie dudes?
Yeah, they're really cool. They're like very Vermont. Just like super chill kind of hippie guys that are a little weird, but super interesting to talk to and really cool. I really do think they're exactly what you would think. Very kind of Vermont-y, down-to-earth, cool hippie dudes. Yeah.
It's a company with a ton of humor. Even from the short walk from the parking lot to the factory, there's something that makes you smile. The Flavor Graveyard. It's a graveyard that honors Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavors that are no longer produced. It's filled with tombstones with poems like these. Sugar plum. It swirled in our heads. It danced in our dreams. It proved not to be, though, the best of ice creams. 1989 to 1990. And this one, Tennessee Mud. The bottle is empty, the cup and the glass. The mud with Jack Daniels was not meant to last. 1988 to 1989. Rest in peace, Devil's Food Chocolate. The devil took the blame for all the rich indulgence. Now watch him fan the flame, melting puddles of wicked succulence. 1996 to 2001. And there are so many of them. Then I went on a 30-minute tour of the factory where I also got to sample a few ice cream flavors. And another fun fact, the company donates ice cream waste to the local Vermont farmers who feed them to their pigs. Except Mint Oreo. The pigs don't like that one.
Greetings from the future. We're happy to report flying cars finally happened, and Ben & Jerry's is still making ice cream. Our loyal spokescow is still along for the ride. She was designed by a local Vermont artist.
There's something puzzling me. It's raining right now. Raining quite hard, and people are standing in line for a long time in order to buy ice cream outside in the rain, and they don't seem to mind. This is something I see all over the US, that Americans don't mind standing in line for a long time in order to buy something sweet, like pastry. I saw that in Boston at a famous pastry shop, or in this case, ice cream here at the Ben & Jerry factory. You got to remember that ice cream, Ben & Jerry ice cream, is something you can get almost everywhere these days, and especially here in Vermont where it all started. So they could technically go into any gas station and buy some Ben & Jerry ice cream. but they don't mind standing in line for half an hour, 45 minutes in order to buy the product. And that really, I just don't get it. I don't get why the Americans, who are so for good service and efficiency and the whole commercial way of thinking, that they just accept to be standing in line for so long in order to buy ice cream. Another thing that puzzles me, this is the Ben & Jerry factory. They have a ton of guests every day. I don't think this is a special thing that just today, when I'm here, the line is this long. This probably happens every day. And still, they only have this shop here. Why don't they open a bigger shop? Why don't they open a second and a third or a fourth in order that the customers don't have to stand in line for this long? Probably because the Americans, they don't mind standing in line for a long time in order to buy ice cream. I'm sorry to the Americans listening, because you might think, duh, yeah, we don't mind standing in line. But for me as a Danish guy, if any Dane came up to this and thought, okay, I like the ice cream and I'm sort of craving, but I'm not going to stand in line for half an hour, 45 minutes in order to give you a lot of my money in order to get some of your product, I'm not going to do that. I just don't get it. I'm doing a podcast. Can I ask you a question? Sure. So, what's your name?
Mike.
Mike, you're American, and you've been standing in the rain in order to get in here to buy some ice cream. Why?
It's famous. Everybody knows.
Yeah, but you can.
Really good.
Let me just get in here as well. But you can buy Ben & Jerry ice cream anywhere, on any gas station. Why stand out here in the rain?
It's really good.
It's the experience. It's really good, I know, but you can get it anywhere. Oh yeah. But it's just something. I see that all over the U.S. that Americans don't seem to mind standing in line for a long time in order to get something sweet.
Right, I agree. We all have sweet tooth.
Any Dane coming here would say, nah, I'm not going to do that. I like the ice cream, but I'm not going to stand in line for that long, and especially not in the rain.
We were already committed. We were here. No turning back.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. You're so wet.
Yeah, the Ben & Jerry's factory is cool, and sometimes we'll go up there when we're going to play golf or going to swim, because Stowe is beautiful. So
You might even be named after Ben.
I might be named after Ben. Yeah, I know. And now it's funny. Like, I have a good friend named Jerry, and actually my grandmother's name is Jerry. So like Ben and Jerry, it's like a funny, yeah. So.
Remember that you can follow the Radio Vagabond on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you prefer to listen. And while you're there, please give me a 5-star rating. It's just something that's good for my ego. And please tell a friend about this podcast. That's even more important. Thank you so much. You're the best.
And you're heading back now.
Yeah, so I am headed back now. I have 1 week left here in Panama, and I'm headed home for the summer, which I'm actually really looking forward to. So summer in Vermont is beautiful. Going to be living on the lake with all my best friends. I golf just about every day. There's a lot of golf courses in Vermont, so all my friends golf. It's pretty much all we do all summer is golf and, you know, surf and go in the water, and it's great. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Ben.
Of course, thank you.
This episode is brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. It's a website that helps you find the best prices on hotels and guest houses and hostels around the world in one simple search. Hotels25.com.
And that's it from New England. Now I'm heading north across the border to Canada, and I'm so looking forward to that. My name's Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
Produced by RadioGuru.co.uk.